Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel and this amazing video. I'm Aditya. This video is going to be the last video of this series and we will be seeing the concept of JWT tokens, how we can verify them, how we can send them, and how we can protect our routes using JWT. So without any further ado, let's begin. Okay, so let's first understand before we get into JWT what I have done. So I've just created a JWT controller file which will be responsible for JWT operations. Then I have created a project controller and team controller. It's just very basic CRUD operations, routes associated with them, very basic routes. Now I have tested the project routes. They're working fine at least for me. Team routes, I haven't tested them. So you might find some of them not working correctly, but I have also created the validators over here. So for project update validator and project create validator. In any case, if you feel like something is not working or something like that, I like totally apologize for that, because I've just done it a very basic API in this case, because the main concern for me was to demonstrate the JWT token. But in other ways, you can clone this project and make it however amazing you want, no problem at all. So next thing is, what is JWT? So let's say I have a front end app, let's say, or I have an app done in front end, let's say React or Vue, and I want to send information or receive information from this Express API, because Express APIs, they're going to run on server. So my front end will communicate with these APIs and receive information based on certain requests. Now, how come my Express API can authenticate me as a valid user? Login, password, and email, that's a good thing, but it's just one time thing, because you don't want to make every time someone logs in, let's say they are seeing certain resources, they're creating a project, you're asking for password. They are, let's say, creating a team, they're asking a password. Then you're, let's say, assigning a team, asking password, just searching a project name, asking password. It's like, even listening this gets horrible. So we just want to make sure that there is a smooth mechanism where once the person logged in, we make sure that the authentication process is smooth from both ends, front end and the back end. And to make this smooth, we have a concept known as JWT token or JSON Web Tokens. Now, what are these? They are an encrypted string which consists of header. The header part will contain the algorithm used and just the metadata about the token. And then there is a payload which contains the data about that token. And there is a secret, or you could say a signature, that will contain the secret of that token. Now, these three parts, they are encrypted in a long string. So you will get a very long string. Any random letters and numbers will be there inside it, or even symbols. And this token we will send once someone registers or logs in. Once that tokens is sent to the front end, now it's the responsibility of the front end developer whoever develops it, or the front end application in general, to catch that token and then use it. Now here, what we need to do is we will be sending two tokens, access token and refresh token. Access token is a short-lived token. It's like literally lives for 5 or 10 seconds. So we can have the expiry time for this JWT token, and refresh token is going to be the long-lived token. Why we need these two tokens? Because access token, let's say that token is compromised. So in that case, we are like compromising a big security aspect of it. So what we need to do is we need to give a short-term token to the user so that even if the token is compromised, when someone makes a new request, it's already expired because it's short-lived. And when the user wants to refresh that token, we give them a refresh token. Now this token should be HTTP only cookie by default, or at least as a good practice, because HTTP only cookie are only server-side read, or it will be the responsibility of the front-end developers or the front-end app to make sure that the refresh token is stored in a very secure way that can never be compromised, at least it right to impossible to be compromised. Now, what we could do is that refresh token, we can, when the user sends from the front end, we will use that refresh token to grant a new access token. So what we need to do now is, first, to begin with, we need to define a secret for that token, because that's very important. And depending upon how strong the secret is, because remember, when you create a JWT token, secret is a very integral part of it. Stronger the secret, I would suggest, like, as far as I know, difficult it is to crack that token. Weaker the secret, easy it is to crack that token. So what I'm going to do is I'll create an env file here. So I'm going to say .env, and here I'm going to say secret, and secret will be some string. You can create it as a random string, doesn't matter. You can create either as a random string, or you can use the random string generator. Any works. We'll just have this random string like this. Then inside JWT controller, before we begin, we need to install this package. So let's install this, which I have already installed behind the scene. So I've installed that. And then now let's make exports.jwt controller. Now this is going to be a function. Here we will first have a create function. So create token. Now this will create refresh token as well as access token. So here we can make it a reusable function where we could say refresh equal to false by default. Okay, so this means should I create a refresh token or not? If this refresh flag is set, then we will create both tokens. So let's start by creating the access token. Also, we will need a payload. So that will be because we need to pass some payload, and then we can use this method over here, which says jwt.sign. There are two algorithms for this to create a token. So there is SHA 256 and there is RSA SHA 256. So one is HMAC and one is RSA. So we can use any of these algorithms. So what we are going to do is we will just use this sign function from here. So I'll just take this from here and paste it over here. Now this is going to be our access token. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we need to import this. So let's have JWT. Now here we just sign the token. Now here I need to give some expiry time in seconds, because if you see it says 60 into 60. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it into seconds, 10 seconds. And then here we will have the data. So the data will be our payload. So I'll keep that payload over here. And secret will come from process.env.secret. Yes, it's capital. Secret. That's great. I think we will need a .env package, but we'll just double check if this works. Let me just quickly check if this works. Process console. Next, we just need to make sure if the access token is required. So we'll say if refresh, if the user is asking for refresh token, then we will say const, or we will return here an object where access token will be the access token that's being generated, and refresh token, or what we could do is we could simply do something like this. If refresh, then we send another JWT token, same data, everything same. The only difference this is gonna be, let's say we keep this for 1 month. So 30 into 24 hours into 60 minutes into 60 seconds. Okay. So 24 hours multiplied by 60 will be minutes, multiplied by 60 will be seconds. And then here we have the payload, same secret, nothing different. But if it's not set, then we'll just set null. All right, so this is our create token. Next, we will need something to verify token. So verify token. This time we will just need the token. So here I'm going to take the token, and this token will be used to verify. So I can use the try catch block. Now what's going to happen is if the token is right, then it won't go at all in this catch block. Okay. So I'm going to say const decoded equal to jwt.verify. And here I'm going to pass the token string and the secret. So this will be our process.env.secret. But in case if this is not right, if something goes wrong, then here we need to return false. And here we need to return true, or we can return the decoded information. Okay, home controller, and here we create the token. So here I'm going to say const token, that will come from JWT controller dot create token, and this time I want refresh token as well as access token. I'm just gonna encrypt the payload with email. So that will be user.email, and I'm asking for true. That means I want the refresh token as well. And what I'm going to do is I will just use this cookie. Now here I'm using for 1 year, so I'll make it 30 days. And then here what I'm going to do is, this should be actually, oh no, it's in actually 260 to 60. So 6 are 36 and 40. Yeah, that's right. And then what we need to do is we just need to send this cookies as an HTTP only cookie. And then here we have the refresh token. So that will come from token dot refresh token. And perfect. We can do the same thing for access token, so like granting the refresh token when someone logs in. So here when someone logs in, we can just put it over here. So this if loop will have brackets now, something like this. And then we will need to put all of this inside here. Now we need to send the access token along with the response that we are sending. Token, that will be our token dot access token. We can also send the refresh token if we want, but let's send it as a cookie for now. So that will be our access token. And here we need to put 1, 2, 3. To 3. Right, that's perfect. Now next thing is we need to create a middleware that verifies this token. But before that, let me remove this part over here. This is not needed because we are already passing a hard-coded value. If we want to pass it from the env, let's say some static response, like dynamic response time or some predefined response time, we can use this process.env. So let's remove this from here and this should be fine. I think it's best to install .env as well. So .env. So you just need to say over here require .env dot config so that it could read our .env files. Sorry, .env file, not files. And from there we can get the secret properly. And then here I think we can also modify this. Actually, this needs a date timestamp. We can make it smaller. I just refer to documentation as well, so we can have payload as it is. And then the third parameter could be here expires here. So we have this over here. So let's, okay, that's perfect. Now let's write our middleware to verify the token. So here will be our function verify token from, or let's verify access token, as the name would be very long. So verify access token, this will take the token as a parameter, which will be again going to be an access token. So what we need now here is we need from the request, we need the headers. So I'm going to say request.headers. Now this will be an array, that's why I'm making a plural form. After this, we need to check inside that if there is a headers, or if there is no headers actually, of name authorization. It should be with Z authorization. Then in that case, what we need to do is we need to send a response. So return rs dot status. This would be 405 with a message. Token not provided. Perfect. Now let's add this middleware. We don't need token for this because we are already getting it from here. Sorry for that. So we don't need a token. So let's go inside this and let's add that middleware over here. So I'm going to say over here and this route because we want to protect these routes. So here I'm going to say JWT controller dot that will be verify access token. But what if the token is provided? So in that case, what we need to do is we need to take token. So that will be const token, and that will come from the headers authorization token. Now what happens is this authorization header is going to be a string. The string will be something like this, bearer, and then some random token like this, or our token that starts from some encrypted string. Let's consider this is our token string. It's not going to be like this, but let's consider it's like this. So here there is a space. So we need to separate this string as a space separated array so that we can access this as an element over here. So what I'm going to do now is here I'm going to say token headers. From that headers, we want the authorization headers. From that, we want to split the authorization headers based on the space. So that will be a space. And from that, we need the first index element. So that will be our token. Now, next thing is we need to verify this. So here I'm going to say if this is not verified, this means if this token is something else, so that means it's not a verifiable token. So in that case, we can pass a response, which will be something like this, but we can say token invalid or invalid token. Okay. Next, in case if we have a valid token, then in that case, we just need to continue. Perfect. Now, one more thing to notice here is I'm using this pointer here. Now, the thing is when I'm dealing with this JWT controller, the scope of this is the entire thing I have selected. But as soon as I use, let's say I call this verify access token function from a middleware function, what happens is the scope changes. So the scope is limited to this middleware. And when this function is called from here, this might be a bit confusing to understand, but when the function is called from here, when it goes inside this code and it refers this, it cannot find this because the scope is not this entire thing. The scope is a different thing when we call it as a function. So what we need to do is to keep the, or to preserve the scope, what we are going to say, we will say bind this function with the, oops. So bind this function, let me just select it again, with the parent, which is JWT controller. Okay, that's perfect. Now what we need to do is if we give a try to this, let's give it without a token. So if I send a request, token not provided, that's great. Let's get a token. So we get this token, which is valid for 30 seconds. Now, if we use this token, we should see the project details based on the parameter we are looking for, the search parameter. And there we go. Now wait for 30 seconds and see if this token, after getting expired, do we still get the response. In the meantime, we can proceed forward with our getting a new access token. So I have written a helper here so we can get the token from the cookie, because the reason is if I show you the cookies over here, you will see that refresh token cookie is set, and this is our refresh token. So we'll use this token from the cookie. I'm going to get the access token, but I'll show you what it looks like. And from here, I'm going to say grant new access token based on the refresh token. So it will be request and response. That's what we will need it here. And then what we need to do is we need to say that whenever you are getting a token, first see if it exists in the cookie. So we can use that cookie parser helper that we have created over here, which is not actually created. We just like defined it over here or declared it over there. So we can say const token that will come from the cookie. So cookie helper, or cookie parser actually, that will come from cookie helper. There we will pass the name of the token that we are looking for. We are looking for refresh underscore token because that's what the name we have given in our home controller over here. And the cookies. So we will send the cookies. The cookies are situated in the headers cookie. Now this cookie is going to be a string. Okay. So if I go back over here with the invalid token, you'll see invalid token. That's great. Index.js. Here I can say app.get. This will be new access token. Now this will be used to get a new access token based on the refresh token. And here we will have JWT controller. From that we want grant new access token function. Now if we make a request to this, we also need to have a response to be sent. So here I can say response send. We'll just send a message. Let's send some different message. There we go. We have that wait message. Now, in case if you want to get the token, so I'm also consoling that whatever cookies we get. So here you'll see this is the cookies that we are getting. So we need to look for equal to sign. So what we need to do is we need to split this. So I'm going to say const cookie array, and that will be cookies dot split. And now we need to split them based on the equal to sign. And now what's going to happen is, actually, if I pass another cookie, let's say, let me show you what happens. Actually, equal to sign won't be a good idea. Let me pass one more cookie. Let's add an extra cookie. Let's say, yeah, let's add this random cookie, and let's send this from here. Now if we, okay, this, so here you'll see that the cookies are separated actually by a semicolon. So we need to separate it by a semicolon. So semicolon, actually not equal to, semicolon. And then from this cookie array, we need to look for our cookie name that we are looking for. So any index which has substring as the cookie name that we are looking for. So now if we go inside this cookie array, required key, like the cookie we are looking for, that will be our required cookie. So from the cookie array, filter that cookie which has this name what we are looking for. This is refresh token. So here I'm going to say for each cookie, whichever cookie dot index of the name we are looking for, cookie name equal to 0, that's our required cookie. So let's go back over here and console that. Misprinted, it should be mistyped it, console, and let's send it again. So there we should see, okay, we are getting a blank array. So right, so if you see there is a space over here, so we need to trim that space. What we can do is actually we can just put it like this, and then we will get our required cookie. So if we just send the request again, and there we go, this is our required cookie. Now what we are going to do is we will, from this cookie, we just need the 0th index cookie that we are looking for. So that would be our actually cookie string. And from this cookie string, we just need to, again, split it into array. So cookie will be required cookie dot split. So this will be, okay, this should be cookie, sorry for the misspelling. So required cookie dot split. Now this we can split it by equal to, and then we get the equal number, like, sorry, the first element cookie, then return cookie. That's great. So this will give us the refresh token or the cookie value. Now if we go back over here, we will get the token here, and then we can use this token to verify the token. So here I'm going to say if this dot verify token, let's put not first. So in that case, we will send this invalid token message over here. Otherwise, so this is a spelling mistake over here. So what I'm going to do is I'll make this as a decoded information. So what I'm going to do is let decoded equal to this verify, because we will need the decoded information to pass in the new token. And then if this is invalid, that's great. Else what we're going to do is let new token equal to this dot create token did, and we just want that, we don't want refresh token anymore. And then we will return, or we'll say res dot send access token will be new token dot access token. The token verify token, and here we are getting decoded. So also let's console the decoded, so just to make sure we are binding or passing the correct payload. And also don't forget that we need to bind this over here, the JWT controller, so that we can use this functionality. So this should be access underscore token. And let's see what do we get when we pass this details. Is options expires input. So if I check over here, so we need this one, email from the decoded. So here I'm gonna say email is decoded.email. And if this everything is great, our response should be now with access token. Space. Okay, let's try again. There we go. And we have the access token. Yay. So we can use this access token to make further requests. And yeah, so that's all in this video. Hope you enjoyed this series. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up buttons, and also the previous video, please hit the thumbs up buttons for that. If you feel this channel is worth subscribing to, so please do subscribe to my channel. And if you feel this playlist or this video as well is worth sharing with your network, please do share with your network. Before we leave, just one last thing to add, like I would like you guys to try that and put it in the comment section. I'll just give you a hint here. So let's say if we don't put a refresh token, so if we remove it from the cookies, and then if we send this, so this time it is going to throw an error. So to solve this error, the hint here is we need to go to cookie parser, and here we need to add a try catch block, which will handle the case where the refresh token is not present in the cookie, and then it will send false. It's going to be similar to what we have over here. So if the array split fails over here, because it's going to fail over here because it won't find any cookie, so this won't be of it's going to be null. So if this is empty, then we can just return false, or we can have a try catch block, and here we can catch those whatever token. If we get a false, then in that case we just need to send a response of token not present or refresh token not present in cookie. So that's all in this video again. See you in the next video. Till the next time, goodbye.